I walk the same path every winter. Not because it's beautiful, even though it is, but because it stays the same. The trees keep their distance, the ground stay honest, snow simplifies things. It covers what doesn't need to be remembered. I usually go alone. Sometimes I talk. Not to anyone particular, just enough to hear my own voice behave normally in the cold air. I don't rehearse conversations or confess anything important. I comment on practical things. The weather, the trail, how far I think I'll go before turning back. It's easier to think when no one's listening. The snow muffles everything. My steps sound smaller than they should. Even my breathing feels distant, like it belongs to someone a few meters behind me. I've always liked that about winter walks. The way the world steps back and lets you exist without interference. The first time I heard it, I didn't stop. Just a single crunch behind me. Clean, distinct. Too heavy to be a bird. Too deliberate to be falling snow. I slowed my pace, expecting someone to pass me. The trail is narrow in places, but it's popular enough that you learn the rhythm of shared movement. People overtake each other without ceremony. A nod, a muttered hello. No one did. I glanced back over my shoulder. Nothing. No movement between the trees. No shape where a person should be. They must have turned off the trail. There's a smaller path that splits west about 100 meters back. Easy to miss if you don't know where it is. I kept walking. I talked a little as I went. About nothing. About how the snow looked heavier this year, like it hadn't decided what to do with itself yet. My voice fell flat in the cold, but steady. Normal. Then I heard footsteps again. This time, more than one. They matched my pace too well to ignore. The distance between them was wrong for an animal. Too even. I stopped completely. I expected to see someone a few steps behind me. Maybe an older man. Maybe a couple walking close together. Someone about to apologize for startling me. The sound continued. 2 more steps. Then nothing. I stood there longer than necessary, just to be sure. The forest didn't react. No birds, no wind. The snow held its breath. Eventually I moved on. There was no reason not to. Whatever explanation fit best would do. People misjudge distance all the time. Sound carries strangely in winter. That's all. I didn't think about it again until later, when I was heading back. The light had changed by then. The sky dimmer, the shadows longer, the snow less forgiving. On the return trip, The trail always looks slightly unfamiliar, like it's been rearranged while you weren't paying attention. That's when I saw the footprints. They were human, no mistaking it. Clear heel, defined toe, pressed deep enough to suggest weight. They began in the middle of the trail and ended there too. No approach, no departure, just a short sequence of steps that didn't belong to anyone I could place. They weren't mine, I checked. The pattern was close, but not exact. The angle was off, the spacing unfamiliar. I stood over them, hands in my pockets, waiting for a reaction from myself that didn't come. Someone must have stopped there, I decided. Stood still long enough for the snow to take shape around them, then stepped carefully away. I didn't follow the prints. I stepped around them and continued on. After that, the walks felt slightly different. Not worse, just occupied. The forest was still quiet, but the silence had weight now, like a room that's already being used. I found myself talking less without consciously choosing so. Sentences dried up halfway out of my mouth. I'd open my lips, draw breath, then decide there was no need to finish the thought. I told myself it was the cold. On another walk, I heard footsteps again, closer this time, though I couldn't have said how I knew. I stopped out of habit now, not expectation. They didn't stop with me. Just one step, then another, slow, careful, as if whoever it was needed to complete the motion they started. I didn't turn around immediately. I waited for the sound of someone clearing their throat, for the polite shuffle of a stranger realizing they walked too close. Nothing came. When I finally looked, the trail behind me was empty. I nodded to myself once, as if that settled something. Then I kept going. I started noticing smaller things. Snow disturbed where no path crossed it. The way certain clearings felt less inviting than they used to. Places where I used to stop now felt reserved, taken, occupied. One afternoon, I stood still for a long time. Long enough that the cold began to work its way into my fingers. I wasn't listening for anything. I wasn't thinking much at all. That's when I heard a single step. Not behind me, not ahead, nearby. Close enough that I could feel it rather than place it. The snow compressed under weight that wasn't visible, wasn't measurable in any direction that mattered. I didn't move. Neither did it. When the silence returned, it felt intentional, like a decision that had been made. I walked home early that day. The realization didn't arrive all at once. It settled in gradually, like snow accumulating on branches until they finally bow under it. The footsteps didn't come when I was moving. They came when I paused. When I stopped filling the space with sound, with thought, with intention. The forest wasn't empty when I was quiet. It was shared. On my last walk before the snow began to thaw, I reached the clearing where I usually turn back. I stopped out of habit, then out of something closer to courtesy. I opened my mouth to say something. I don't know what, and felt the words stall before they formed. The air felt complete without them. I stood there, breathing, listening. There were no footsteps this time, no sound at all. Just the sense that the silence wasn't waiting for me anymore. I turned back without speaking. Now, when I walk the trail, I don't go there to be alone. I go there to show respect. And I listen carefully, not for footsteps, but for the moment when the quiet no longer belongs to me.